Israel, Russia, China, they got nuclear weapons. Everybody who's obsessed with this fight, where does this lead?
This is why I'm so anti-war, because people don't understand that nuclear warfare is not good for anybody. And I do think that we need to get out the Middle East and focus on China. I do think that China's the real threat, honestly.
China is the big gorilla. Let's talk about Israel, big picture.
Sure.
Obviously, Israel's been controlling our foreign Middle Eastern policy, but now the Democrats are in so much trouble. I have seen the Democrats falling apart, so Israel and the Kudniks are making a move on the Trump administration. And I knew behind the scenes people in the meetings that Trump's screaming at Netanyahu. They get big fights.
That too.
But at the same time, I don't think Israel's the only piece on the board. But the way Netanyahu's been behaving, the October 7th stand down, now this supposed deal, he said once the war is over, they'll investigate it. And now we've got 200 troops to monitor Gaza ceasefire. I'm really concerned that these troops are going to get sent over there, even though they're in advisory capacity, they get killed, and then it's blamed on Iran or something and Hezbollah. I'm very concerned because even the EU said, NATO, we're going to put advisor troops in to Ukraine, and then if Russia kills them, we go to full war with them. I'm really concerned about this. So speak to that. And then in general, there's a mania about Israel because it's the last taboo people aren't supposed to cover. And Israel's been used to bully people and shut people up and all of it. So I get it. It's healthy to have free speech. But at the same time, I get accused of working for Israel with no evidence because I don't just focus on Israel only. I'll cover communist China and the South China Sea taking stuff over. Or I'll cover Mexican drug cartels. See the comments. Why are you covering up for this? It's this one-track mind. And so as this obsession intensifies, but then we go where the news leads us, why do you think it's come to this head, and where do you think it's going?
Yeah, well, I think with when it comes to us being able to talk about Israel and Zionism or Jewish power, any of these things, it's been a topic that's been taboo for so long. So like people are like finally able to talk about it, and they're going kind of nuts, right? I was like, yeah, so finally we can talk about it. So you get the people that are refined or able to articulate the problems at hand, whether it's our foreign policy being controlled by Israel or the Jewish lobby that runs America, whatever it may be. Then you get the crazies out there that is just like everything is the Jews, right? And it's like we have to be able to take an approach where we can identify the problems and not just be able to identify the problems, but be able to do it accurately so that our credibility stays intact. Now, when it comes to, what we got going on with these 200 troops, that does concern me because, when it comes to American troops in the Middle East, I'm always concerned. And, let's be very clear here. I will not put anything past the Israelis when it comes to false flags. People forget that, during the Bush administration, towards the end of it, I know you probably know about this, Alex, but for your audience here, for their purposes of them just knowing, the Israelis had tried to do a false flag with the Iranians before, posing as CIA operatives by getting militants from the Jundullah terrorist organization, Balokh basically, to make an attack in Tehran. And this happened at the end of the Bush administration. And he basically didn't have the balls to do anything and, reel the Israelis in. And they literally had Mossad agents posing as CIA operatives, funding these Jundullah guys to do an attack in Tehran, Iran, which could have created enormous geopolitical ramifications for us with foreign policy.
And we have the Levant affair.
Exactly.
We have the USS Liberty. So Israel's a thoroughbred at staging stuff to get us into a war.
They're good
so
at it.
you got to be concerned about this.
Hell, even with 9/11, yeah. So I'm concerned with American troops being in the region because you're right. They can easily, and another thing people need to understand when it comes to, Israelis is there's a lot of Arab Israelis. There's a lot of Muslim Israelis. There's a lot of Israelis that are white, that are black. They can fill in so many different roles.
Well, Israel has special brigades that are Arab.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That speak fluent Arabic that are literally from, because people need to understand that there's Sephardic Jews who are Hispanic, there's Mizrahi Jews who are Arabs, there's Ashkenazi Jews who look white, there's Ethiopian Jews, the Somalian Jews, like they're from all over the place, right? So the reality is that when it comes to the Mossad, they can do these false flags and make it look like it came from a Hezbollah or from an IRGC or whatever. And
by way of deception.
Yeah, but that's literally their phrase with the Mossad is by way of deception, we will create war or rise up and kill them first. So they will do anything that they need to do. And I don't like Americans being in the region. I'm very worried.
100%. So, but Netanyahu, I mean, had Michael Savage on, who's dialed into like top Israelis. He's pro-Israel. And he says Netanyahu's got to go. They have the lowest poll numbers in Gallup. Israel's the most unpopular country in the world. Yeah. My issue is I don't want to blow up Israel. I don't want to do all this. I'm not. But does everybody think about, as the whole world turns against Israel, how does that unfold? What does Israel do with nuclear weapons? Like, let's think about where this goes with this craze to get Israel, which gives Netanyahu more messianic power. He's getting all charged up. There's got to be a way to de-escalate this.
And people need to also understand that, like, you guys think Netanyahu's bad. The people behind him in the Likud party are even worse. He's the moderate, right? He's the moderate. When you look at people,
it's like they say, get rid of Putin, you'll get somebody 10 times.
It's going to be worse. So, and obviously Netanyahu also is dealing with a criminal investigation right now for corruption and, bribery and everything else. So he's obviously wants to hold on to power, and, he knows extending the war out will allow him to do that. I do see a war with Iran as being imminent. There were some rumors about, like, oh yeah, he called Putin and said, I don't want a war with Iran, but I don't believe that. I think that a war with Iran is going to happen before the end of this year or early next year. I think that's going to be the next step after this whole
that's
Hamas
the official
thing.
Israeli policy.
With the
try to get Iran war.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They've been trying to do it forever. And it benefits them, right? Because they know that Iran is basically the last thing that's blocking them from complete hegemony in the Middle East.
So I'm going to ask you again, you're a smart guy.
I don't think
as this clash with Israel intensifies, where does that lead? I'm asking everybody, like, okay, whole world turns against Israel. Okay, we can't reform Israel. Okay, they got nuclear weapons. Samson option. Do people it's like, even if you hate Russia, which I don't hate Russia, they got their own problems, but the NATO started it. But now they want to keep pushing it. Trump's going to try to give them cruise missiles. So even if you hate Russia, we go to nuclear war. It's like, same with Israel. Like, it's like China. I don't like Xi Jinping, the communist, but like at a certain point you can't appease them. At a certain point you won't start a fight with them. My point is, like, Israel, Russia, China, they got nuclear weapons. So everybody who's obsessed with this fight, like, where does this lead?
Yeah, and this is why I'm so anti-war, because people don't understand that, like, nuclear warfare is not good for anybody. And I do think that we need to get out the Middle East and focus on China. I do think that China's a way bigger I think China's the real threat, honestly.
And when I say that, which is they literally froze all the rare earth minerals. They have 98% control.
Dude.
And Trump's right, like, everything's made with that. China's been positioned to dominate. And every time I say, hey guys, let's spend 50% on Israel. Okay, fine. A little bit on China. Shut up, you work for the Jews. No, China is the big gorilla.
Yeah, it is. It is. And this is why I've been like, obviously I cover Israel quite a bit, Middle Eastern foreign policy, etc. But I think that
no, I do too. But there's this thing where it sucks oxygen out of the room.
Yeah, people get obsessed. And the reality is we need to focus on China. Like the reason why I'm so anti-war, we need to get the hell out of the Middle East and stop these wars.
Just get ready for China.
Is we need to focus on China. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like they are. I mean, if you compare
all the war games with AI show China's the issue.
Dude, not just that. Like, look at when they had their parade, right, versus our parade. They're marching in cadence. They're showing off all their weapons or whatever. What do we got? Like fat women, a bunch of fat dudes walking around. They can't even walk in cadence. It's like we need to.
And our enemies see that.
Yes. And look, there's definitely a Jewish problem. There's definitely an Israeli problem here in America. I get it with the lobbying and the wars in the Middle East. But we need to handle this so that we can focus on the real problem, which is, I think, China. That's the biggest threat.
Well, that's my point to people is people politically kind of woke up. I was making films about the Liberty 20 years ago and having the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on exposing it. No one can do more interviews than me on Liberty because they're all dead.
Yeah.
My point is
cover 9/11. You were talking about the
all
Israeli,
of it. My point is there's big stuff to deal with. There's also this thing, and I get most Muslims aren't radical, but the leadership is. It wants to be expansionist. The CIA, Mossad's funding it for this class of civilizations. But people have to understand that, look how they just turned over Syria to Al Qaeda. My point is there's a lot of other big issues.
Jolani. That's crazy that Ahmed al-Shar is the president of Syria. Like, this guy was literally an Al Qaeda guy for, decades, and he's shaking hands with Trump and Marco Rubio. Nuts, man.
Well, I'll tell you what I don't like about it, Netanyahu, because he gets called on the carpet by Trump and others. He doesn't think about any of the secondary effects of what he's doing. It's all about him, not even Israel. He doesn't even want to hear about we got to pivot from Russia to China. It's all about keeping us in the Middle East for Israel. That's crazy. Israel, you got nuclear weapons. You make way more money than we do on average. We're in debt. You're not. So stop.
They got healthcare for their people. Like, they got like.
Well, that's my issue with Israel is we need to be worried about China.
Yeah.
We do not need to be worried about Israel. You can take care of yourself.
And yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm so against giving them.
But that's what it is with the Jews on average. They're all bullied by Netanyahu in the lobby. The ADL's the left, Likud's to the right, but it's all AIPAC's the right. It's all like they just, it's one track mind. And I'm just like, guys, you've already beaten all your enemies. What are you doing?
They want complete dominance. And the other thing too that pisses me off is like they bombed Qatar like a month ago. Like, we have a military base there.
We have
like
3.
Like the biggest.
But that's the thing. I always hear I'm getting Qatari money. I know that's our ally.
Yeah, that's our ally.
They defended Israel, and they just Netanyahu. Oh, maybe Qatar says I killed Kirk. No proof. So what is that? Israel's jealous of Qatar actually being the most important ally in the Middle East.
I would. You can make that argument because we have a huge base there. We did a huge deal with them financially, right? That Trump there's a reason why Trump went to the Gulf first, and now he's only visiting the Knesset, what, Monday? Took him how long to finally go to
so it's jealousy by Netanyahu. My point is, I know everybody, folks, this Qatari thing is made up. They defended Israel with their missiles.
Yeah.
And then how do they get treated for that?
Jordan does, Qatar does. When Iran was shooting all these missiles over, the Qataris shot a lot of it down. And so did the Jordanians as well.
So why would Netanyahu run them down?
I guess maybe his guy said, hey, we can get these Hamas guys. We got them. We know where they're going to be. We're going to do it. And he said, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. And they went ahead and they bombed them.
No, I know. But this trope that anybody that doesn't agree with everything Netanyahu says works for Qatar. I ain't seen no check. Never been contacted by him. My point is, we got 3 major bases, our biggest Air Force bases there.
Yeah.
And then they're literally, Netanyahu's blaming them for saying he killed Charlie Kirk with no evidence. I'm just like, dude, you're attacking your ally.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that?
He just doesn't give a fuck, man.
Why did they pick Qatar to make them the devil?
The thing with Netanyahu is he will blame everyone. He will do what he needs to do, right, to control power, to push the narrative. And then they just acquired TikTok, too. So it's like, we're going to see even more.
Oh, it's like the head of Meta censorship goes, yeah, the Jews have taken over the internet. And if you say we took it over, we're going to censor you. Did you see that clip?
Well, yeah, Jordana Cutler runs Meta.
Yeah, she said that,
yeah.
and then he's like, we just took over TikTok with Larry Ellison, and now we're going to bully Elon Musk.
Yep.
And I'm just like, dude, he's literally trying to stir stuff up.
Yeah, and not only that, like, if you look at YouTube, for a very long time, who ran YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, she also is a Polish Zionist Jew. She passed away.
Took the shot, yeah.
Yeah, and what's funny? I was reading an article about,
Her son was a big listener of mine.
Really?
He still is, yeah.
Oh, I did not know.
We're sorry for your mom. You should come on, son.
I will say this. She, I was reading.
No, she said, I had to take Alex Jones off. My son's a big fan.
She did say that she had to take you off. And then another thing she said was, I go after people like Alex Jones and people that talk about anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. I was reading an article before she passed that she said.
And see, that's my issue. I've been on it for 31 years. I've always exposed Israel when it's bad. It's just not the only thing doing bad things.
Yeah.
And then that's what
she said in her article that like she went after people that are anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and she had mentioned your name.
I know. Believe me, I know. But see, that's why they don't like me, because I don't hate Jews in general. I'll oppose any corrupt power structure.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't think I know, it's been caught before. They're funding a lot of the crazy stuff with made-up stuff about Israel discredit. That's what they're doing.
Who's funding?
The Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL.
Oh, yeah, fuck that. Oh, my God, man. Yeah, that's...
You understand that? They create, like, crazy stuff. Like.
Oh, yeah, no. And the thing is like, these guys, like, they write hit pieces on people like me, you, Nick, whatever, right? Get us banned off everything. Media Matters, ADL. It's like, there's like a whole censorship regime in America where it's like, they write a hit piece, they lobby to these social media companies. Did you know that this guy's on your social media platform making money? And then they like censor you.
Oh, that's the former MSNBC head censor that has The Onion that's trying to take over InfoWars. He was the Brian Stelter of MSNBC. They're literally trying to take us over right now. But that's my frustration. It's not that it hurts me to guys, sitting there doing all this, attacking me. It's like literally I'm under the ADL constant attack for decades. I'm just trying to be fair here. And it's this thing of saying, oh, you work for Israel because I don't wear a Hugo Boss uniform because I don't like Hitler.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. You were one of the first guys talking about the Israelis being involved with 9/11. People got to pay their homage, man, and show some respect.
Well, they always show the old clip and go, where's this Alex? Well, you ain't tuned in. That's my thing is they go, oh, look, he said this the day after 9/11. Where is he now? I said it 10,000 times since then. I don't have to prove myself these kids in their basements. And I'm not mad they're kids in their basements. They just need to stop with this claiming people that are telling the truth that are on their side of their enemy just because it makes them feel holier than that. You see what I'm saying?
And you bring guys like me on, you bring guys like Nick on, et cetera. Like, you wouldn't bring us on if that was the case, if you were like a shill for Israel, as they claim. Like, you bringing people on like us to talk about this shit openly without like, I
know, but here's my thing. We don't have to prove to these kids that we're truthful. They just do that, and they need to become men and not do that.
Yeah.
Here's an example. We have breaks at the end of the hour and middle of the hour. They always take a clip, we go to break, and say, Alex is censoring. No, the break's been the same for 27 years. At 28 after, we go to break for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
When we go to break, they're going to take a clip and say I censored.
Of course, no.
I mean, this is mental illness, guys.
Right, you've never censored me.
You need to be men. I invited you here. I wanted you on. You came. I appreciate being here in person.
Of course.
You need to be men. It's not about I can't take your criticism. You need to stop the mental illness. You can spend all day hating Israel, okay? I'm just saying you got to focus on China. Just like you said, you got to learn to see other points of the compass.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't just be honed in. Like, obviously, right, you guys know me. Israel hates me. I hate them too. But, you know, the biggest problem here is I think that China is gaining more and more influence, more and more power.
And Israel sells our weapons to them.
And Israel, yes, and they steal our secrets as well and sell it to them. So I do think that China is something that we've been ignoring for a very long time, and we need to focus on and get out of the Middle East.